guys, I hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about bullet journaling because I am addicted to bullet journaling. In fact, I have had days where I get to my day job and I search my bag for my bullet journal and I realize I've left it at home and I have cried. I want to talk to you about what I have found works for me, what I have found doesn't work for me, and just a general rundown of what bullet journaling is if you don't know already, and how incredible it is because I am in love with it. So if you don't know, bullet journaling is essentially a variation of a planner that you make for yourself. This is my one from last year. This was the first bullet journal I had. I bought a Moleskine to do my bullet journaling in, and it was okay. I had the grid system, which was interesting. If you don't know, you start off a bullet journal by making a key. In mine I had a little John Green quote, and it tells you what the symbols mean, and then you work on an index, so you number your pages and you write down everything in the index. You also have a future log, which honestly I didn't really use very much after the first few months because the novelty kind of wore off. And you put a future log of what you're going to do throughout the months, and then you start your actual month. So I started my first bullet journal in April, and I did this sort of calendar where I had the days and the months, and I would write down my shifts at the time because I was working at a supermarket back then, so I had to work weird hours. And it was great. I'll go over this for you. I had lists of books that I wanted to read. I had videos that I wanted to film, movies to watch, which was apparently a really extensive list. Adventures with Justice for when he moved here. That was a really big motivator for me to save up money and move out, and for him to move here. All that sort of stuff. And then, yeah, I was doing little things like a bit of gratitude for the day. I was also putting, come on, focus on it. I was also putting my Skype dates in, so every little heart you see is a Skype date, which I like to look back on. This was the stuff that I found worked and didn't. I had a weekly objectives list, which I still keep doing. I found that really helpful because it'll get to Thursday and I'll be like, man, I don't even know what I was meant to do this week if I don't have one. The one thing I really liked about bullet journaling from the start was the fact that I could make it my own. I quickly changed my spreads because I found the days that I had didn't fit enough in. I also used it as a really ugly travel journal when I went to Florida, and that was a very rushed thing, but it was really nice to be able to keep all the memories. So I used my bullet journal a lot last year, but overall didn't like the Moleskine. It was a very blank book, and I hated the grid. I just felt like I had to get everything perfect in the squares. So when I moved on to my 2017 bullet journal, which is this guy here, are you seeing a theme with the colors? Yes, I'm actually making a conscious effort to buy bullet journals that are color coordinated so I can have a rainbow by the end of the series. But this one, which is what I'm using this year, is the Electrum 1917, and I freaking love it. Inside, it's got my details. It also says how long I'm running it for because I filled this one already. Guys, by the something of October, what is it, the 22nd of October? Yeah, by the 22nd of October, I will have started a new bullet journal, which is crazy. But I've decided this year not to follow it annually just because I like doing it too much. And if I bought a new bullet journal every time I filled it, it would be a waste. So inside, the index is already there for you, which is so handy. The pages are also pre-numbered. If you can see there, that tiny little number, the number 3. It's pre-numbered, it's amazing. I picked the dotted one. I love it. It's so much easier to work with. At the start of this year, I kept the same layout that I was using. I also bought new washi tape, which I'll get into shortly. I bought these notebooks from Larrypost. I think they follow me on Instagram actually now because I love them so much. But if you're in Australia, I would highly recommend them. I don't really know where you can buy Electrum sketchbooks or notebooks internationally. I would assume online. Check with your local art supply store, they're usually pretty good. I kept the weekly objectives, but the days actually have become bigger in my bullet journal just because I find it so much easier. I will say this bullet journal this year is nowhere near as pretty as last year, because last year I had a lot of spare time and this year I have not. I'm sure you're very aware. I keep a lot of notes, like this is one of my colleagues' coffee orders. She's a very difficult woman. She's not really, I love her. But yeah, she has a very specific coffee order. So I keep all the little notes that people leave me and stuff in my bullet journal. So when I look back on it, I can just see, oh, they left me something cute. As you saw, this bullet journal for me ends in October. And I'm finding it very frustrating to start a new one and then have to start one again for 2017. So I bought this beautiful yellow Lecture of 1917. And I've already started the planning. If you're curious, this here, I had it in my last bullet journal as well. It is something that Dan Berry, who is a comic artist, illustrator, very creative, amazing guy, uses. And basically, if you're a freelance or if you're a creator, usually a lot of people will ask you to do something for free. And it's very frustrating. I've been asked this several times and I don't think it's fair. So he has this theory that if it's fun and it's useful, then do it. If it's fun and it pays well, then do it. If it pays well and it's useful, then do it. So you've got the three options in that triangle. If the commission or the artwork hits two of those points, then you should do it. So I've been keeping that in mind, because it's all well and good to say, oh no, you're not paying me, I don't want to do it. But if it's actually something useful or fun, then maybe you should do it. For the first page of my bullet journal, it looks very boring. It's just a list of my weekly objectives and my finances. I write down everything that I spend in my bullet journal, even if it means I just write down the amount I spent on groceries for the week. It's just so I can keep track of where my spending goes. I've been trying to keep a pinkish theme this year so far. It's working. It just makes it look a little bit more loved than the previous year. I've also started putting in a little calendar. It's so I can keep track of my uploads with YouTube. It's also so I remember important things. I think that's really fun. My weekly objectives used to take up a page in this year's bullet journal, but honestly, half the time I don't fill it. I also had work objectives, and honestly, my day job, I don't think I need to write down my tasks because it's quite straightforward. So I think I might make myself a little template for the office that I can sit and tick off instead of bringing my bullet journal and my day job home with me, because it just makes me a bit overwhelmed to not have that divide. The reason I don't have as much in my bullet journals this year is just, well, for next year actually, it's just because I don't feel the need anymore. I think I can show you with my first bullet journal. I squeezed everything into that and it was great. I had stuff like this, for example. This was a poem that I loved, so I wrote it all down and stuck it in. And honestly, I would love to do stuff like that again, but I just don't have the time, especially with a day job. If you're into this as well, personally, it didn't work very well for me. It made me really anxious, but you can track your habits. I did it for like a week and I found that it was really annoying, so I didn't do it. I even went so far as to put a food pyramid in my bullet journal, which might work for you. It didn't really work for me. It just took up space. A very simplified version of the bullet journal. This here is something that I do in every bullet journal. It's the best of this year and the resolutions for the next year. I've started putting really boring things in, like cleaning tasks for the year and illustration goals, which is actually something I'm really looking forward to writing down. So now, onto the tools you'll actually need if you want to start a bullet journal. I'm going to go ahead and say get yourself a Lecture of 1917. If you're not sure that you're going to commit yourself to this, don't worry, you don't have to invest in something like this. These cost like 30 or 40 Australian dollars, which is quite expensive. So I think in the US it's probably about $25. My exchange rate in my head doesn't make much sense. I don't know how much it is in pounds, sorry. But if you type 39.95 Australian into whatever your currency is, I'm sure you will find out. I've noticed a lot of people who start bullet journaling are under the impression you have to have like those Staedtler fine liner sets of like 30, and they're like so expensive. You don't. You just need one good pen. My preferred pen is the Pentel Energel .07. It is just like, it's not too thin, it's not too thick, it just does the job. not the cheapest of pens, but they last a while and I just love them. They're very comfortable in my hand, and every really trivial, convoluted thing that I can like about a pen hits all the marks with that. If you want to pretty up your bullet journal, there is always the option of washi tape. I personally love it. I was very skeptical using washi tape when I started, and then when I was on my trip to America, I actually found this little container with a heap of them, so I bought it and I have not stopped using them. There's also an amazing website called Washi Tape Australia. They sell a heap of washi tape, and I think it's about $2 a roll, so it's quite affordable. I really don't think you have to invest necessarily. Personally, I do, but that's because I know I will use it. If you're starting out, don't feel pressured, just see how you go. Look at Pinterest if you want to find nice ways to present your information, or you want to practice cursive. It's fun, it makes me feel sane, and I could not recommend it more if I tried. Like, I just love my bullet journal. Yeah. As I said, have actually cried because I've left it at home before. Not my best moment. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was informative if you are looking at starting a bullet journal. And I dare say now is the perfect time to, because 2018 is just around the corner, which is so scary. And I think it will be a massive help to you if you're anything like me and just you can't keep track of what day it is or what you had for breakfast. If you would like to see more of my stuff, feel free to subscribe. And if you would like to give this video that because you enjoyed it, go for it. It feels weird plugging this. If you would like to support my illustration career, which you will probably be able to witness on this channel quite regularly, I do have a Patreon account if you would like to see more of me in general. I am on social media, all the links are below, and I will also leave links to all the websites where I buy my bullet journal products. Bye! Okay, are we ready? Are we ready? I don't think we're quite ready yet. Oh god, this is oh god, I just can't deal with my head right now with this haircut and my head and this. It's just, I need to fix this. I'll be back.